On July 20, 2020, a police station in Singapore was visited by a woman whose voice trembled as she reported that her granddaughter, Megan Kung, was missing. Several months had passed since the child was last seen, and repeated attempts to contact Megan's mother, Chloe Fu, had been met with silence. Something felt wrong. Earlier that year, between June 29th and July 3rd, a letter had been received, stating that Megan had been hospitalized due to an illness, but no details had been provided. No explanation of the illness, no indication of its severity. Attempts to reach Chloe were ignored. Night after night, ominous dreams of Megan in distress haunted the grandmother. A sinking feeling grew. Something terrible had happened. Megan's biological father, Kung Nan, shared the same concern. Though his past had been troubled, his daughter's safety still mattered to him. A report was filed with the police. What was uncovered sent shockwaves through Singapore when authorities located Chloe Fu and her new boyfriend. Their phones were seized in the hope of finding Megan's whereabouts. Instead, disturbing videos were found, footage dating back to 2019, showing relentless abuse suffered by Megan at the hands of those who were supposed to care for her. The evidence revealed unimaginable pain, fear, and a child left without protection. Born on October 4, 2015, in Singapore, Megan Kung Yu was the only child of Simon Kung, a local influencer known as Simon Boy, and Chloe Fu. On the surface, they had appeared to be an ordinary young couple. However, behind closed doors, their relationship had already begun to deteriorate. Court records indicated that a marriage had taken place on May 12, 2015, just months before Megan's birth. Within a year, the marriage had started to crumble. By 2017, separation had occurred, and Chloe had moved in with her mother, taking Megan with her. Meanwhile, Simon had fallen into drug addiction, leading to multiple arrests between 2015 and 2019. Any hope of being a father had been lost due to his choices. In 2018, a year after her divorce, Chloe had met Wang Shisheng, a freelance car mechanic. Their relationship had progressed quickly, and by January 2019, Chloe had left her mother's home to move in with Wang at a rented condominium. But a conflict had arisen. Megan had been wanted in the new home, but permission from her grandmother had been refused. Love had been poured into raising Megan, and deep bonds had been formed. Wang had not been trusted, and concern had surrounded Chloe's relationship. The warnings had been ignored. Ties had been severed with family and an ex-husband, while Megan had been left in her grandmother's care. For a while, she had been safe. But that safety had not lasted. As Chloe adjusted to her new life, another person had entered the picture. Nu Vol Chua, a close friend of Wang's. Weekends had been spent at their condo, and eventually, Megan had begun visiting as well. What had started as occasional visits had turned into a permanent move. By September 2019, it was then that her nightmare had truly begun. At first, the abuse had been subtle. Between late February and early March 2019, caning had been used as punishment whenever Megan had wet the bed or dirtied the furniture. At just 4 years old, she had been brutally punished for accidents that any child might have. Signs of abuse had not gone unnoticed. On March 19, 2019, bruises had been spotted on Megan's face, arms, and feet by a preschool staff member. When questioned, Chloe had lied. She fell off her bicycle, she had claimed. More bruises had appeared. "That's just how I discipline her," she had later said. Shock and concern had been expressed by the staff. A warning had been issued any further signs of harm, and a report would be made to the Ministry of Social and Family Development. Fear of exposure had set in. To avoid detection, Megan had been withdrawn from preschool on September 17, 2019. An excuse had been provided. The school had not been teaching Megan Chinese, but in reality, her removal had been nothing more than a cover-up for escalating abuse. Her suffering had worsened. From September 2019 onward, regular beatings had been inflicted upon Megan by Wang. A cane had been used. Slaps had been delivered. Punches had landed on her small body for nothing more than dirtying the apartment. Instead of protection, Chloe had joined in the abuse. A water hose had been used by Wang as a weapon. But the cruelty had not stopped at physical violence. A lesson had been taught to Chloe, a punishment method that would leave no visible marks but would cause unbearable pain. Press your thumb hard into her ribs, Wang had instructed. And so, it had been done. Over and over again, Chloe's thumb had been pressed into Megan's tiny ribs, causing silent agony. Chua, the supposed family friend, had known everything. But rather than intervene, something even worse had been done. She had recorded it all. Each slap, each cane stroke, each cry of pain had been captured on video. Not for justice, but as a warning to Megan of what would happen if she misbehaved. On February 21, 2020, Megan did not eat all day. That night, Wang brought food home. Megan thought she would finally get to eat, but instead, she was dragged into the bedroom for her final beating. Wang was angry over something trivial. He slapped, punched, and hit Megan repeatedly. The wounds on Megan's body began to fester, and pus started oozing from her injuries. Deliberately, Wang wiped the pus onto Megan's face, adding to her suffering and humiliation. Then, he delivered the fatal blow. Wang punched Megan in the stomach with full force, slamming her small body against the wall. Megan passed out. She could not move. Something inside her had been broken. For the first time, Chloe Fu panicked. She won't make it. We're going to be in trouble, she said. But it was too late. Megan was dying alone in the bedroom. A few hours later, she passed away. The cause of death: a fatal blood infection caused by a ruptured organ and untreated internal injuries. The three perpetrators, Wang, Chloe Fu, and Nuval Chua, panicked. They tried to hide their crime. Wang wrapped Megan's body in a blanket, sealed it in plastic, and placed it in a storage box. They even attempted to burn Megan's body using a smoke burner drum. Almost 3 months after Megan's death, they carried out their final plan. They burned Megan's body to ashes and scattered them into the sea. But their crime could not be hidden forever. In July 2020, Megan's grandmother reported her missing. Megan's father, Simon Kung, also reported Chloe Fu for child abuse. Within 3 days, the police tracked down Wang, Chloe Fu, and Nuval Chua. They were arrested and brought to trial. This case shook Singapore to its core. It is a story of unimaginable cruelty, betrayal, and failure by those who are supposed to love and protect an innocent child. Gyeogyong was born in 1983 on Jeju Island, Korea, a close-knit community where everyone knew everyone. She seemed to live a normal life, excelling in school, marrying her college sweetheart, Mr. Kong, in 2013, and starting a family. But behind closed doors, their marriage was anything but perfect. After their honeymoon, cracks began to show. Gyeogyong's erratic behavior, like refusing to board a flight to continue shopping, left Mr. Kong frustrated. Financial struggles and the stress of raising a child pushed their relationship to the brink. Gyeogyong became violent, even threatening Mr. Kong with a weapon. By 2017, they divorced, and Gyeogyong gained custody of their son. But Mr. Kong wasn't ready to give up on his child. He fought for visitation rights, and in 2019, a court ruled he could see his son twice a month. For Gyeogyong, this was the final straw. On May 25, 2019, Gyeogyong invited Mr. Kong to a quiet villa in Jeju City, under the guise of a family trip with their 5-year-old son. That evening, she cooked curry rice, a dish so comforting, no one could suspect the horror that would follow. But Gyeogyong had a sinister plan. She mixed zolpidem, a powerful sedative, into the curry, masking its bitter taste with the dish's strong flavors. Mr. Kong ate the meal, completely unaware. Within minutes, the drug took effect, and he fell into a deep sleep. What happened next is the stuff of nightmares. Gyeogyong grabbed a weapon and stabbed her ex-husband repeatedly. Their young son was in the room, witnessing the entire attack. But Gyeogyong wasn't done. Over the next 3 days, she carried out a gruesome plan to dispose of Mr. Kong's body. Using tools she had purchased in advance, like knives, bleach, rubber gloves, and garbage bags, She meticulously dismembered the body, stripping it down to the bones. Surveillance footage captured her calmly disposing of garbage bags at a nearby waste site and returning unused supplies to a store. She even took a ferry to Wando Island, where she was seen tossing bags into the sea. Those bags, investigators believe, contained Mr. Kong's remains. Mr. Kong's brother grew suspicious. When he stopped hearing from him, he alerted the police, who quickly uncovered the horrifying truth. Bloodstains were found throughout the villa, and zolpidem was detected in Mr. Kong's blood. The blood sample found in her vehicle confirmed that she had secretly drugged him. Go Yujong initially claimed self-defense, alleging Mr. Kong had tried to sexually assault her, but the evidence told a different story. Her internet searches for lethal doses of nicotine, bone weight, and zolpidem in the weeks leading up to the murder pointed to premeditation. Despite an exhaustive search, Mr. Kong's body was never found. But the evidence against Go Yujong was overwhelming. In 2020, Go Yujong was found guilty of murder, body mutilation, and concealment. She was sentenced to life in prison. The case left South Korea in shock. Go Yujong's remorseless demeanor, taking selfies at the crime scene and calmly disposing of evidence, revealed a chilling level of detachment. Psychologists suggested she suffered from borderline personality disorder, marked by extreme mood swings, fear of abandonment, and obsessive behavior. To this day, Mr. Kong's remains have never been found, and the mystery of how Go Yujong disposed of the body so thoroughly continues to haunt investigators. But here's the most chilling part. Go Yujong's stepson's death. Just a week before the incident, Go Yujong was also suspected of killing her second husband's son, who died of asphyxiation 3 months before Mr. Kong's murder. Asphyxiation is the condition of being unable to breathe, usually resulting in death. She was heard saying, "Should I just kill my stepson?" Her second husband, Mr. Hong, described her strange behavior on the day of the child's death. Her statement made unsettling comments. While the court acquitted her of this crime due to lack of evidence, many believe she was responsible. The question remains, was Go Yujong a product of untreated mental illness, or was she simply evil? Born as Sumiasi on September 28, 1948, in the peaceful city of Jombang, Indonesia, little is known about the early life of Mummy Rose. What we do know is that she had a deep love for roses, which earned her the nickname Mummy Rose. As a young woman, she moved to Jakarta in search of a better life. She started as a shop worker, but soon realized that her meager salary would not be enough to survive. In desperation, she took a job as a hostess at a bar, where her charm and beauty quickly made her popular among wealthy and high-ranking men. Despite her success, Mummy Rose longed for stability. Her wish came true when she met Prayat, a widower from East Java who had children of his own. They married and moved back to Surabaya to start a new life as a family. However, without a steady income, Mummy Rose needed to find a way to support her household. Drawing on her experience in the entertainment industry, she made a bold decision. She would open her own brothel on Dolly Alley. In 1975, the happy home was born. Mummy Rose became a madam, taking young women under her wing and training them to work in her brothel. Some came seeking work, while others were rumored to have been sold into the business. Regardless of their origins, Mummy Rose treated them with a mix of firmness and care, earning their loyalty. The happy home quickly gained popularity, thanks to the beauty of the workers and the lively atmosphere Mummy Rose created. She even added a minibar with live dangdut music, attracting high-ranking military officials and wealthy clients. Money flowed in, and for a while, it seemed that Mummy Rose had found her place in the world. However, success often comes at a price. Among Mummy Rose's regular clients was Lieutenant Colonel Pawanto, a high-ranking naval officer. Initially, Pawanto was just another customer, but over time, his interest in Mummy Rose grew. They became business partners, with Pawanto providing protection in exchange for a share of the profits. However, Pawanto's demands soon became excessive. He demanded that Mummy Rose pay him $2,000 per month, that increased to $3,000 USD, as the business flourished. When Mummy Rose couldn't meet Puento's demands, he became abusive. He spat on her, poured drinks over her, and kicked her until she bled. Her husband, Prayat, was brutally beaten with a rifle butt, and their son, Sujang, was imprisoned at the naval base. But the breaking point came when Puento targeted Mummy Rose's 15-year-old daughter, Wati. He demanded that Wati be handed over to him to settle the debt. Furious and protective, Mummy Rose refused, but Puento's harassment only intensified. On August 12, 1988, Mummy Rose decided she had had enough. She gathered her husband, Prayat, her son, Sujang, her employee, Dime, and her son-in-law, Adi Saputro, a police officer, to plan Puento's death. The next day, they arrived at Puento's house armed with guns and iron bars. What followed was a brutal massacre. Puento was beaten to death, and his body was dragged to the garage. But the violence didn't stop there. Puento's pregnant wife, Sunarsi, and their two young sons, Bismoko and Beauty, were also killed. The family's bodies were loaded into Puento's SUV and dumped into a ravine in Sungaridi Beta village. The bodies were soon discovered, sending shockwaves through the community. Mummy Rose and her accomplices were quickly arrested and charged with the horrific murders. In February 1989, the Surabaya District Court delivered its verdict. Mummy Rose, Prayat, Sujang, and Adi Saputro were sentenced to death. Dime, Mummy Rose's employee, received a life sentence. Despite numerous appeals, the sentences were upheld. On July 19, 2008, Mummy Rose and Sujang faced the firing squad. In their final moments, they shared an emotional farewell, with Mummy Rose apologizing for dragging her son into the tragedy that ended their fate. As the shots rang out, their lives came to a tragic end, marking the conclusion of a story that had shocked the nation for decades. The story of Mummy Rose is a grim reminder of how far one can be pushed when driven by love and desperation. Dolly Alley, once a symbol of vice, now stands as a testament to the dark side of human nature. The events that took place there serve as a cautionary tale about the consequences of greed, power, and unchecked ambition. What are your thoughts on this tragic story? Let us know in the comments below.